Trump administration accused of intimidating tactics to block climate agreement. Trump administration accused of intimidating tactics to block climate agreement. A landmark agreement to significantly reduce pollution from cargo ships appears to have been thwarted by a concerted U.S. campaign of diplomatic pressure, according to multiple sources. More than 100 nations were on the verge of approving the deal, designed to curb emissions from the global shipping industry, when the Trump administration intervened, utilizing tactics described by foreign diplomats as extraordinary and nasty. The proposed agreement and its significance. The proposed deal aimed to reduce emissions of harmful pollutants from cargo ships, a significant source of air pollution worldwide. The global shipping industry is responsible for a considerable portion of greenhouse gas emissions, contributing to climate change and impacting air quality, particularly in coastal communities. Reducing these emissions would have represented a substantial step toward global environmental goals, especially considering the industry's projected growth. The deal, negotiated under the International Maritime Organization, IMO, would have established a fee on ships based on their carbon intensity. U.S. tactics and diplomatic pushback. According to 9 diplomats from the U.S., Europe, and developing nations involved in the negotiations, the Trump administration employed a series of pressure tactics to derail the agreement. These included direct threats. Diplomats reported being told that their countries would face consequences ranging from restrictions on sailors disembarking at American ports to being blacklisted from entering the United States if they supported the plan. Financial penalties. Secretary of State Marco Rubio personally contacted officials from several nations, threatening financial penalties and other forms of punishment for continued support of the agreement. Tariffs and sanctions. The possibility of tariffs and sanctions was also reportedly used as leverage. Visa revocations. Diplomats also suggest that diplomatic visas were threatened to pressure nations to vote against the measure. These tactics, according to the diplomats, were unusually aggressive and targeted countries, often economically reliant on the United States or smaller nations with limited political clout. Some discussions reportedly took place at U.S. embassies, including at the U.S. Embassy in London. Official U.S. response and role of Saudi Arabia. The White House, State Department, and Energy Department have vehemently denied making any personal threats or intimidating diplomats. They acknowledged their role in derailing the deal, citing concerns that the shipping fee would harm the American economy. A senior State Department official also pointed to cooperation with Saudi Arabia, noting that Saudi Arabia's involvement helped sway other countries hesitant about the agreement to vote against it. This highlights a pattern of the U.S. partnering with nations that also have vested interests in maintaining the status quo in global shipping regulations. Why this matters. The failure of this agreement represents a setback for global efforts to combat climate change and improve air quality. The shipping industry's emissions are projected to increase significantly in the coming years, making it crucial to implement measures to reduce their impact. The tactics employed by the Trump administration raise serious questions about the U.S. commitment to international cooperation on environmental issues and the use of coercive diplomacy in multilateral negotiations. While nations have a right to advocate for their interests, the reported use of threats and intimidation damages the credibility of the U.S. on the global stage and undermines the principles of transparent and equitable international relations. The reported use of threats and intimidation damages the credibility of the U.S. on the global stage and undermines the principles of transparent and equitable international relations. The demise of the shipping agreement underscores the challenges of addressing global environmental problems, especially when powerful nations prioritize economic interests over collective action. It also raises concerns about the potential for similar tactics to be used in future negotiations on climate change and other transnational issues.